Hello, I'm Trainor from Australia, and I'm going to read my poem, To The Hospice. The poem will be published in the anthology To Let the Light In. To the hospice. Now the cupboards by your bed are empty. Having packed your gear, those who love you rub your head, hold your arm, shout encouragements through this comatose envelope that weighs on you, denying air, stifling the person who you were. So we await the ambulance. Our goal, get your body from here to where it could relax its grip, certain your soul is safe and free. And we, leaving the hospital, hear a solitary magpie call out of sight in some distant tree. My first real encounter with poetry was when I was 18 years of age and I was a first-year student at university, and I encountered French poetry. And I'd never come across anything like that before. To me, it was the first time I really encountered poetry as it should be. That is, the poetry that has an effect on people, that does things to people. And ever since then, that's a long time ago, I've been striving to reach something similar in my own writing. This particular piece of poetry was inspired by a friend of mine. He was terminally ill, and his sister had recently died of cancer, and he had visited her in palliative care and was really impressed by it. And he knew that his time was limited, and he really wanted to get into a hospice in the last days of his life. But in the hospital itself, he had a stroke and was in a total coma, and he was taken out to the hospice when the bed finally came available, and he got into the hospice, and he died virtually as soon as they had settled him into his bed. And to me, that said, even though he was comatose, he wasn't registering anything, nevertheless his soul knew what he wanted, and his soul looked after him and kept him alive until he had achieved his wish. Apart from these two particular cases that I've just mentioned, the other experience of palliative care, or lack of it, was the circumstances surrounding the death of my wife, who had a terminal illness, and they misdiagnosed. I think if she had had the opportunity to have palliative care rather than hospital treatment, it would have done her the world of good and lifted the quality of her life immeasurably. That's why I'm really quite committed to palliative care. It's a very, very difficult thing. I mean, if the person is going through a journey and they're undecided, I would recommend it. But what I would offer such a person would be support and encouragement and love, if I could possibly manage it. Because I think what palliative care offers is a link. The harmony that exists between body and soul has been severely disrupted by illness, and what palliative care offers is the chance to restore that harmony as best as possible before the next final stage of a person's life.